Привет из Дубая. С вами передача «Голубь мира», где разбираем крутые навыки. Спрашиваем на английском, отвечаем на русском. Подтягивайте язык или смотрите перевод в тайм-кодах. Let's talk about corporate finance and let's start with the definition.
Company is growing. First stage is a startup, and there is nothing to count, just one wallet. But then you will get divisions and subdivisions. You will get new territories. You will get headquarters and so on. And in this case, you need several financial statements. For example, you need единый остаток, common money on the account, which would be collected from different divisions to be like semi-visual остаток, balance,
Remaining part, balance.
remaining part. Second, maybe you will need a different kind of bank products like guarantees, like accreditives, and some other, and maybe some companies which are included in your holding, in your group, will not have such pleasure to give special paper to the bank, and maybe some of them would be collateral. Обеспечитель.
Supporter or like the delegate or something like this.
Okay, supporter, yes.
So when it comes to actually, before we talk about the fundamentals, for example, the first question that I had in mind, like, why do I need to learn about the corporate finance? Because I'm probably like in a different position or role. And I do believe that other people also might be thinking like, do I really need it or do I really need to have it now? After I pass the course, well, it's definitely something that I would definitely, like dive deeper. But like in general, like who exactly may need to have this skill and why and when should they start?
Let's start with the same point. Okay, we have a startup and maybe there are like 10 people. They are growing up to 100 and there are several divisions. And in this case, you have just one accounting department and it will provide all payments. But if you will divide your company for different юридические лица, joint ventures,
Joint ventures.
for joint ventures, maybe you will be able to reduce your taxes. For example, you could divide IT department, accounting department, security, product, methodology, and so on, law department. And in this case, you will gain at least two goals. First, this company would provide services with help of clearance. So sometimes you will not pay anything because you will have bills that go in both ways. In second, you will be able to give services to the market, and maybe 10 or 20% each division. And now, as a company, will gain from open source, which will help you.
And when it actually comes to like the overall the fundamentals, obviously there might be like a different areas or different aspects when it comes to like putting everything in one place to be able to execute properly. What might be the moving part?
First moving part, you should divide not just finance, but also штатная структура.
Probably the team structure or the corporate headcount structure.
Headcount structure and team structure, you should also divide. In this case, you will not have not too many people who are lazy ones. If you have a large company, like, for example, 300 people, maybe 10 of them would be lazy and no one knows what they do. For example, they are drivers, they are couriers, or they do some other stuff or dirty work which couldn't be done by other people. And this were especially hired for this kind of duties. Second, if you will have separate budgets, you will see how people will severe review all the payments they need to do. For example, my company, which is like 10 people, wants to buy several computers. I will give a special order in accounting departments, and accounting departments will ask all other companies, do you have computers which are not in use? And maybe I will get like half of server, or maybe I will get old one notebooks from divisions which are more successful than mine.
And obviously, in terms of the level of depth, or maybe the scale, or maybe even the efficiency of decisions that were made by the using the corporate finance skills, what might be the different levels that the person who wants to learn it should be aware of and aim to reach?
First level is to give to any division or to any company their own budget, and they do whatever they want. Second level, you will ask for plans, and you will also check the fact in special date, for example, each quarter or each half of the year. And third, you will have smooth and сквозной
Maybe interim.
interim budgeting, when all divisions will give their money like in one basket, and they will give orders or tickets to buy something, to pay for something, and you will have special division. Usually it's called procurement. Is correct to say procurement?
Yeah, there is a procurement in the procurement.
Procurement department, and this department will unite all the tickets, for example, not to buy 10 times for 2 computers, but to buy at one time for 20 computers, not to buy like several tracks of the paper, but to buy a huge contract. In this case, any order would be enlarged, and it would be discussed, and you will have like tender procedures and so on. You will be checked by lawyers, you will be checked by accountings, and if you will have problem, you will go like a lot of allies, not by one company.
And when it actually comes to collecting all of the different types of the data, well, obviously, when the, let's say, like the finance director wants to like oversee everything so that they actually could incorporate this data in whatever metrics or KPIs, what should be the approach? Because obviously, let's say, for example, when we speak to the drivers, they might not be having a discipline to submitting all of the like receipts, or there are some departments, they might not be really following the procurement procedure. So what should be the, I would say, the framework or setting the process for tracking and storing and then like sending all of the data into single place, or this is the ideal that which is actually hard to reach?
Yes, it's hard to reach, as you know, but usually there are several ways how to manage this. First is to put fines. For example, if you want to buy something separately, yes, you can buy it, but in this case, 10% of your order would be reserved on your account, and you will give it back to the, for example, host company or to headquarters. Second, if you will buy something cheaper than anyone, but with same quality and almost the same quantity, then you will be also fined, for example, for 5%. Yes, you are good that you bought something cheaper, but you are wrong that you are not saying to anyone about these possibilities. And third way, if someone would, for example, to buy something in a hurry, then you will pay also fine like 20%. For example, if you want to buy something huge like a server or a license for office programs and so on, you should make it by budgeting, and you should consider your money to spend smoothly in the same level, for example, in next quarter. But if you out of something and you want to buy it immediately, you will be also fined. So fines, it's maybe severe, but a very, very useful way to tell everyone to stay in order.
So, and when it comes to, like a different mistakes, or especially when it comes to finance, probably the miscalculation is like, could be a very severe things that, like the accountant or the finance director may make. So what are the common errors or mistakes that people know when they do when they're trying to apply this?
First largest mistake is in accounting. Accountants, they work not for company, they work for state. They don't want to lose their job. So if they will get the bill or payment by the contract, they will pay in the first day. But usually lawyers and other peoples who made drafting of this contract, they usually foresee this possibility, and usually they write something like this payment could be done as of 25 of October, but it could be also paid during 10 days. And you should ask your bookkeepers to pay like not in exact date, but like 5 days before the last date, it could be paid. This is first. Second, IT department, they are always in a hurry. For example, they will say, we have no space for storing data. We have a problem with our interfaces. We have lack of channels and so on. And you should also explain them, if you will be in a hurry, all your payments would be denied. If something or somebody wants to pay immediately, it wouldn't be done at any cost. And third, you should also examine your company and understand if there is drivers of the company are divisions which are self-financing, for example, commercial department and so on, it is okay. So your company is growing. But if your company already in the stage of aristocracy, maybe the main word would stay after the bookkeepers, lawyers, and so other paper people. So this is also error. Everything would be smooth and would drive by commercial people. If it is so, you will be growing on the market.
So actually on this point, I just want to maybe like a bit of a highlight because this is kind of a relevant kind of a thing. So at certain point of time, obviously, if you want to set like a rules and procedures, we might be feeling like the company might be become like a bulky or like a clumsy, so that instead of executing like being a hungry, like a wolf and just, like trying to make sales, the everyone is just like make sure that it follows the procedures, especially when it comes to the finance. So new aristocracy, as you said, like will step in and try to run the show. So how to avoid it, like how to still keep it on the healthy level so that we do accountable, we do can foresee things, but in the meanwhile, the focus is not moved from making sales, but like keeping everything in the status quo.
It's a very very big pain for any stakeholders and for any CEO and people of B and C level. And the only one way how to manage this, I don't know how to say, to pump out, отсасывать деньги, pump out.
Or cut the cost.
No, it means that I will take the money from the company and would hide them somewhere. Откачивать как будто бы воздух. Pump out.
Then pumping out is good.
Pumping out. Okay. So if the company having money, first people who will betray you, it would be bookkeepers. They will say, "Oh, come on, we have money. We could buy chairs, we could buy notebooks, we could sit in a fancy office. We will have a fridge, we will have microwaves, we will have some eating stuff. We will improve quality of our tea, coffee, and so on." So the only one way is to establish a very small company like 5 to 11 people, which would be like a host, this main company, managing company. And this company should take all the money from companies which are above them to accumulate. So this could be like money for prosperity, money for reserve fund, money for stakeholders, and so on. If you will not pumping the money and you will have them on account, everyone will pretend to divide them with you.
And actually, when it comes to, like assessing things that could happen in the future, like for example, one of the amazing things that Daniel actually showed to us is how to do the comparison between like a different initiative that company could take. And again, like at that point, I understood why like in the big companies, the startups, like internal ones, actually could survive because they go through the couple of like severe checks, like through different numbers and the characteristics. So how to use the corporate financing to do all of the type of the assessment when you think about the current money and their cost in the future, or vice versa?
This is a very funny and very important questions. First, this is not just about projects. It's not just about startups. It's also about image and reputation of the people who are trying to compete for the money. For example, my startup and your initiative are going to fight. For example, you want money to have them in November, and I want. So you will have presentation, I will have presentation. Then we will be going through severe checks, as you told before, but first some small group will think whom will live better, to Maxim or to Oleg. And for example, if you will win because you have in your experience so-called track record. Track record is a quantity in percentage, how many projects have you done with good result. And if your track record is better than mine, maybe I would be denied on this stage. Okay, if you have comparable experience and comparative track record, then we'll go through all the checks. And approximately 40% of people, they couldn't survive it because they don't want to answer the questions. They don't want to have unsleepy nights. They don't want to write a huge bulk of letters. And on the last page, you should give a promise. And it's called like challenging or stretching. Everyone will say, come on, Maxim, maybe you will take some more money and you will make a great result. And if you are able to do this, you will definitely get the money. So it's not about how big amount of money are you asking. This is about, are you trying to build a mechanism which will allow to have money-making line?
That's quite interesting. And will be also a question that I do believe might be relevant for pretty much every skill, because I guess at a certain point of time, like you may have like a feeling that there are a couple of things that you may kind of suggest to the people who like doing the finance, but they will be taking it probably a bit more offensive because like you're actually stepping on their territory. But let's say like if there are certain things that you can like a comment or like a contribute out of a goodwill, so how you should go about this, like how you deal with this, like trying to do something which is not really on your territory, but still relevant to your job, but there is a different stakeholder who actually possess the decision making.
You know, you should borrow from the fox her nose and from the cat his legs. You should ask these people to learn you how they make calculation, and they will show you in Excel spreadsheet how do they put formulas, how do they put constants, and what do they check. And in this case, you will say, is it possible that I will do all the checks and you will just correct me? And if you will use the same methodology, you would save them time. You would give them honor, and they will be a bit looking from the above. Will say, "Oh, come on, Maxim, now it's correct. Now you can go."
Well, that's kind of a diplomatic way. My last question will be how knowing about the corporate finance could help to make this world a better place.
A lot of people, they do not want to have too big management structure, and they just want to have everything in one pocket. Yes, okay, it's quite understandable. There is also a saying in Russian language, do not put all the eggs in the same basket. Yes, when it's about a bank or banking service, it's okay. But when you have different divisions and they're huge enough, maybe more than 20 people in each division, in this case, better to put them in different companies and to start to make calculation in corporate way. In this case, you will be more lean, you will be more fast, and you will be more competitive.
А мы рассмотрели навык корпоративные финансы и чем он полезен именно вам. Всем мира!